What's going on, everyone? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and welcome to your inspirational astrology horoscope for the lunar eclipse in Pisces this August 27th into August 28th of 2026. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks for being part of HighVibe.tv. And I'm here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Hope everybody's doing wonderful out there. I know it might not be the easiest energy. This is the last of the 3 in total lunar eclipse energies we've had in Pisces since 2024. So not the easiest, but also at least this is the last one. And we have been through so much Pisces energy since the beginning of the 2000s that this is really the last big kind of Pisces moment for a long time. And I just want to remind people that there's a lot that has to dissolve, fall away in order for better things to come. Right now I'm doing a special, especially really on AI. I'm only taking 10 people for the next 10 weeks to make them builders in the new world that we are, and all the stuff that I build now, it's AI. You know what? The spiritual community needs the upgrades. And so I'm only taking 10 people. I've already sold 5 seats. I got 5 seats left. Tomorrow is the close of it. And if it's just going to be those 5 people, but you get tons on there, you can go to theleoking.com and click on Ascend at 10 and be part of this. And it is also a full AI native experience. And I'm going to teach you what AI native is, especially in this world we are with AI, and how to actually let everything build itself and really you just be the human that kind of checks on everything at the end of the day. And to really build your dreams into the things that can change this world instead of being so afraid of it too. So definitely check that out. That's at theleoking.com. Also, I've been doing a school, Planetary Pivots. It's actually going to be, class 6 is going to be tomorrow. And then it always comes back on Thursdays for the remaining classes that are left, dealing with your own chart and all of these crazy transits that we are under right now. And of course, that Venus retrograde coming up in Scorpio, and how it affects your life in your own chart, and also with the changing world that we are in right now. All right. So lunar eclipse in Pisces, it is definitely a more than just a moment. I think we have to remember this is bringing things up that have been messy, that have been draining. And the energy of Pisces is the forgiveness that you put yourself in the binds. Some people are dealing with addiction. Some people are dealing with toxic relationships. Some people are dealing with forgetting about spirit, forgetting about the universe, forgetting about the connection there. It could come into a lot of different ways. But I think the most beautiful part about it is it's through these struggles, it's through these things that we actually become more spiritual, that we become more in alignment. Sometimes we have to get out of alignment to get back into alignment. Sometimes we have to drift in order to get out of the drift. And I want to remind people that. I know it's not been easy, especially because I get, whether it's on social media or phone calls or texts, and it feels like as an astrologer, for these last 2 decades, it's like every big event that we've been having over the last 2 decades, it's like more and more and more people at certain events kind of like, hey, what the fuck's going on? This one reached a level that I had never seen before, where more people really having struggles than ever. And I think we have to remember that the struggles, and I think that's a sensitive area, and Pisces is very sensitive. But it's a very sensitive area when it comes to like, hey, like this is stuff that you have to deal with within your soul here. And the hardest thing to do is let go of things in life. We like to attach. We live in a society that's very much based on the opposite of what you would think to do. I think it's funny, like, we say Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. That's the idea of somebody who lived back 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, because to have a home or a castle or even like be a lord would have been a big deal. So Jupiter in Cancer was exalted, but within a world where everybody has homes and apartments and stuff, everybody wants the job. So it's so funny that Jupiter in Capricorn seems to do better in these times than a Jupiter in Cancer, because it's like, well, I already have a home, or I already am pretty decently well off. Things are kind of inverted in many ways. But I think that we have to remember that with what we've seen outer planet-wise, that's the biggest blip in the universe of all time. Never going to see that again. With this Venus that's about to come into its pre-shadow before the Venus retrograde, the one that we go through every 8 years in Scorpio, and the rarity of the one that's coming, that this lunar eclipse is bringing up everything from September of 2024 and how that moment shifted things. And then this is that moment that shifts us out of those things. But what do you have to let go? And it might be very difficult. So we're going to go through the chart, and we're going to give you the full understanding of, like, as best as I can here, to help you realize it's not as complicated as you might be feeling. Because some people like get too caught up that, like, it's just too difficult, I can't deal with this. It's like, no, you can. I also will be releasing Hypergate AI, the Mac OS alpha version. This is it right here, so you're going to get a little preview of it right now.
For thousands of years, humanity looked to the sky for answers. Now, the sky can answer back. Your chart is synchronized. The current sky is acquired. The gate is open. Welcome to Hypergate AI by the Leo King.
All right, so yeah, I'm actually really excited to bring out Hypergate AI to Mac OS. I'm not going to reveal all the secrets in this yet, but yes, it does connect with Hypergate AI, which is at app.hypergate.ai, and the Hypergate AI app on iOS, and all of those features that I do have baked into that. And this is going to be the first live visual astrology experience connected with AI, to where, as a professional astrologer, you no longer have to click any buttons. You could talk to it, run everything, and watch it all live do it. It's pretty fucking cool, and gets even very dramatic, and different ways to pop the charts, create your charts, but also to watch them move in a motion that we've never seen before. Or if you even want to take it into the helio three-dimensional stuff, and I think this would be a good way to kind of start. So let's take the transit of today in this moment. And actually, I'll just show you. We can have a little bit of fun right now. Let's just go. Take me to the lunar eclipse about to happen. So it'll move things, including in the normal wheel for you. So I just typed in the chat bot into it, and it went in there. And of course, this is the basic if you just want to do functionality like that. But we could look at the Helio 3D tropical chart, because I'm so sick of these 3D programs doing it in sidereal that I finally was able to build my own 3D one that's built in and baked into it with AI as well. So of course, the one thing to really look at, of course, is, like, as we're looking at it from the sun's position at Earth, yeah, there's that Venus getting really close. And I think this lunar eclipse is going to be a big part of that. understanding that it's, when you look at it from a sun point of view aspect, it's like, this is really about Venus that's coming in to get close to Earth. And I think it's important because if we look around too, what I actually like about what I've designed here is like with the understanding of Pluto, for example, and its orbit. So if we take a look at Pluto for a sec, which is okay, down there it is over there. Here it is way down below and it's out of bounds, right? So like we can come down here and see it's way below. But it's funny, like when I was born, I'll go to natal chart really quick. I was born with Pluto way up high, right? So here, my Pluto was right here. Now I'm born with it geocentrically at 29 degrees of Libra, but like it's at 1 degree of Scorpio, my heliocentric tropical chart. That's Pluto at the top peak, right? Like that's at the top. It's looking down on everything. We're now at the bottom, and now it's going out of bounds. So you get to remember, like that's what's so crazy about the changes in the world that we're in, is like part of this lunar eclipse is the fact that, we're in a world that we've never all experienced before. The last time Pluto went out of bounds, of course, was back in Cancer. But the last time it went out of bounds in Aquarius, of course, was during the Revolutionary War times. So Pluto is in a very different place. And I think that, if I just take it from this position, the transit that we're at now, and I kind of keep it where we were. Well, now I'm looking at it from this angle. How funny. So now you see Pluto way down here. And of course, it's the orbit that is very weird. And of course, in 2018, it crossed this line right here. It was found on the other side in 1930. And that's because Pluto was popping up. Now, I know some people know this, but some other people don't. And I think that it's important to remember, everything in the universe is changing as above, so below. And so, all of our charts have Pluto above. Most of everybody watching this does. We're now in a time where Pluto is below and it's going out of bounds. So the world's flipped upside down, literally. So you have to let go of everything that was of that world in the heliocentric chart that you lived in and you were raised into. You're living a life that switched. So people born, before 1930 had to watch the world change so much and then watch it be at the fastest part of Pluto up above all the other planets and watching everything when he's the ruler of the underworld, and now he's back in the underworld and he's going out of bounds. So it's like, it's pulling all this energy back down. It's not lifting it up to change fast. It's pulling all that shit away. And you add all this Pisces energy and it's a massive pull. So let's look at this lunar eclipse here, and we'll just do it in a basic mode here to be easier to see for people. All right. We'll use yellow. So it's happening at 4 degrees of Pisces, almost 5 degrees. And what's interesting is you just had the Cazimi of Mercury. So it's actually Sun Mercury in opposition to this full moon. The Sun and Mercury are both in quincunxes, and really that quincunx to Pluto has pretty much broken off during this lunar eclipse. I like to use 1 degree orb, but it's been a yod, and we're in a yod. And the lunar eclipse is exactly at the midpoint between the sextile of Neptune and Pluto. So the North Node is in Aquarius here. This is it's a partial lunar eclipse, but tons of people are going to see this one. And I think what's really odd about it is this is the third one, right? This is just like pounding us with what we got to let go of. Venus at 20 degrees of Libra here. This is important because Venus at 22 degrees, that's where she's going to station and come direct after the retrograde at 8 degrees of Scorpio at the first week of October. So Venus already slowing down, doing less than a degree a day, and now we're dealing with it really being focused around a Venus, Libra, and Scorpio from now until the end of the year. I mean, that's what's crazy is you're going to see Venus in Scorpio for like 40 plus days, and then you see it back in Libra for a little bit, and then it's another long time of Venus. So it's like 70 something days of Pluto or Venus in Scorpio coming up. And this eclipse is highlighting the moment right before we step into that pre-shadow, which I do think is very relevant, and I think it's very important to remember. So relationships are going to be, whether they're breaking off and apart or they're coming together and being built. There kind of is no in between when you're dealing with Venus and Scorpio that's coming. But I think that what's unique about this moment with this lunar eclipse in Pisces is that Saturn, Neptune have been in there in Pisces since 2023. So like the first one that happened when we were in Virgo, it was like September 7th or September, yeah, around there. It was, okay, yeah, we're dealing with this really weird Saturn, Neptune energy that are in Pisces. Then the second one that happened last year was Saturn had retrograded back into Pisces, but Neptune was in Aries. That's weird. The ruler of Pisces being in Aries, but Saturn had retrograded back, it was 29 degrees. And so I think we thought maybe, oh, okay, this is the worst and we're getting through it. Nope, now is the moment where all of that energy since 2 years ago is combining in this moment to clear what didn't work in your life, to move into this new world. Because if you think about what we're moving into, a lot of it is what's exciting. And I think what's really interesting about this lunar eclipse as well is it's in square to Uranus. And Mercury's in square to Uranus. And the sun, of course, right? So the big T-square that happens to be forming in the middle of the yod with the opposition part of the T-square. I think it's just so interesting to see Uranus be at this moment where this is the planet that brought the basket, brought it together. And it is one of the best placed planets right now. It's been in trine to Pluto. It's in sextile to Neptune. It's been in great aspects to everything in the air and fire aspects, especially even the Libra energies that are at the beginning of Libra and the beginnings of Leo. But Jupiter, of course, at 12 degrees now, it's moved off that. But Jupiter and Saturn beginning their trine. We haven't seen this one since the late 60s in these two signs. And, you know, the last year and even 2024 was dealing with Jupiter square Saturn in Pisces and in Gemini, and then in Cancer and Aries. Now we're finally seeing Jupiter and Saturn in a trine that's beginning. And so you got to see that after this lunar eclipse, it's about the Venus retrograde and it's about the Jupiter Saturn trine. It's also going to be about Mars that's in square to Venus that's building, that will be through the retrograde. It's also about Mars finishing in Cancer, and then it's going to be stuck in Virgo and Leo up until the June of next year, after it's done here in Cancer at the end of September. There's a lot of things that right now are saying, get out now if it's bad. Do not fuck around. I'm telling you all know me. I'm real as fuck. I will just say it. Do not start putting makeup on a dead body and trying to make it feel alive. I know it feels like 2018 Leo King's back, but I am the master of Venus retrograde Scorpios. I did tours last time to warn you all. This is where people try to patch things up that are not working. And what I love about the Virgo part of this, because we had the South Node over the last 18 months. So last year, it was a South Node of Virgo. And so I think that's why we were like, North Node was in Pisces. We were like, you know what? Yeah, it's not that bad. Neptune was in Aries during the last lunar eclipse in Pisces. It was like, I can get through this. It's no big deal. And then it almost has been like the biggest like realization of like, fuck, I was dumb. Right? So I think that right now, the number one thing to focus on in your life is you're not crazy. Okay? You're only crazy if you actually believe that you can be better than the universe and try and say something that's toxic, something that's holding you back, something that is truly disconnecting your soul from the reality that could be making very simple adjustments, better adjustments, and feel like you're at least getting some sort of traction in your life. It'd be crazy to think that that will happen in a good way for you when it's obvious as can be with the Sun and Mercury in Virgo in opposition, and there is no more South Node there, and there is a square from Uranus. So there's a lot of very mercurial energy in this. That's like, let's get not just smart logically, but let's actually think about our future. So our moment and our present and the past have to now meet the future, which I think is so interesting. That's really kind of the core of this T-square. Right? Like if you think about it, like the lunar eclipse is highlighting the past. The Sun and Mercury is highlighting the present. The square to Uranus in Gemini is about the future. And remember, the lunar eclipse is the facade that you're believing is what to get focused on. It's actually where the shadow from the earth is on the luminary and taking away its light. And so it's actually kind of revealing it's like a mask, right? So there's this mask that some past situation that's so beautiful is going to turn beautiful after it being so ugly. It's not. It only is when you let it go. So what's not showing up in your life that wants to go out in the fields and do the work and make the adjustments? People can talk the talk, but Uranus there, it's easy to see if somebody's not following through. You can't just say you're going to do something and not do it. I love that about Virgo, because Virgo's like number one pet peeve, which I think that we need a lot of Virgos around to know, is like when people say they're going to do things or people are going to show up a certain way and they don't, Virgos know. They go, what the fuck? You didn't even show up for work. You know, like you didn't even show up for this. You didn't show up for that. You're not doing this. And I think that's good. I think that we all need to be more discerning in our life of where we're getting lost into the idealization of situations, which are definitely going to be very Venus-based, because Venus is very much connected to the eclipse as well, right? So it's got the sesquiquadrant. It's got, I always just call it a sessi square. It's at the 135 there. It's got the semi-square, of course. That always happens when Venus is about to retrograde to the sun. It's also another sessi square to Uranus. And so I think what's happened is, if you think about with Uranus and Venus too, it's like the future that won't move forward that's exciting is with people, relationships that really are not balanced and aligned with you and don't bring you peace. I think the number one sign of Pisces, and why Pisces and Libra is that always a quincunx, is that it's very difficult to try and say something was as beautiful and peaceful as godly when it actually brings you nothing but hell, and it feels like shit, and it's not fair, it's not peaceful, it doesn't bring you peace. That's kind of the hard thing. People can sometimes be like, well, maybe God was making this so bad so that they could figure out that they're really good. No. You have to be a realist now. This North Node in Aquarius is like, people are good humans or they're not good humans. And I think this is what's hard about Pluto being here now. That Uranus is like, all right, here's the facts. You have to follow these facts to go into the future. So if you're dealing with people right now that are not fucking showing up, they say it, but they don't. They say they're interested, but they don't show the interest. Or especially I'm going to be talking to people trying to patch things up with people that they've been in long-term relationships with. That's the scary shit. Whenever you're dealing with a Venus Libra, about to move into Scorpio, move into its pre-shadow, before a retrograde, like 2010, 2018, 2002, 1994, 1986. Like, this is the problem that people run into, is they actually think it's going to be okay when it's not. This is the only transit that brings that. Like, if it's had its moments that have not been going well, it's not going to change. But you can open the door to, actually, the only thing I've seen during Venus retrogrades in Scorpio, and when they're in Libra like this, is if you're willing to open up doors and you've cleared the energy of old energy out, then you can build some of the most awesome relationships. So, it's about relationships, because really, I mean, I think now that we're finishing this whole Pisces chapter in our lives that has been a 20 plus year chapter since Uranus made its ingress into Pisces in like 2002, 2003. It's been nonstop Pisces. And now Pisces is going to be a dead zone. There's no major outer planets coming in there except Pluto, which is like almost 20 years away, a little less. Then that's it. Saturn ain't coming in for another 26 years, right? Uranus ain't coming in. There's nothing except Jupiter, but that's, of course, not some big thing. Pisces is going to be the most boring place for a long time, which is, thank God. It's not going to feel like we're all on an acid trip that's bad acid. It's not going to feel like we're all stoned. It's not going to feel like, everything is in a different dimension. But you got to get out of the crazy kind of facades about things that really are not good. Jupiter's in Leo and this nice trine to Saturn saying like, hey, as long as you are very willing, will is the word of Aries, not free will, will. If you have the will and the will power and the willingness to define your soul and what you are and what you came here to do, and the creative energy that is a new creative energy, because of course South Node is in Leo. So it's not about copying what everybody else is doing that's trendy, because that's going to be the other problem with this North Node Pluto for the next 17 months, is everybody's going to be like, well, what is everybody else using? Fuck that. Or criticism from, well, if I go with this person or I do that in my life, then, what are these people going to say? What are those people going to say? What are my friends going to say? What are my family going to say? Like, fuck all of them when it comes to your own happiness and your own love and what you want to be in life and what your creativity is. If anybody's telling you what to paint, if anybody's telling you what kind of music to listen to, if anybody's telling you who to love, fuck them. On that level, you don't have to go even farther than like that. They're a horrible person. Just like when it comes to that area, you have to take back who you are, because this is about the future that's exciting. And the only way to go into an exciting future is letting go of a past that you're still crying over. Like, there's nothing to cry over anymore. It's over. You haven't let go. And you have to let go. And I think what's making this very difficult is Mars. Mars here in Cancer. And being here with Mars in Cancer in its fall position, in square to Saturn in its fall position. This is a huge stop sign. It's a huge delay. It's a huge frustration that's irritating. And you just want things to feel better. Well, you know what it is? When you define what you want and it's not showing up that way and you exit that and let it go, then you won't be so frustrated anymore. Okay? Pretty simple. Everything seems complicated when it's actually the most simplest solutions right now to get out of your complications. Even this Uranus trine Pluto is like, okay, let's try radical new technology. Let's try thinking about it differently. That's awesome. That's cool. But like the Virgo energy now that it's back online without a South Node and being part of this eclipse, of course, I think it's like, hey, my day-to-day basic life and the environment with all this Gemini, Uranus energy and square is kind of like, I need to change up my environment. And that could be like, hey, it's nice to actually talk to somebody who's not freaking out over every emotion and not freaking out about whatever is going on. Or it could be criticizing you all the time. or it could be, right? But you can't put the blame on people. Pisces, you have to take the accountability on your own soul. So part of the letting go now is like, hey, I went through this to learn, and I partake too. So when you're letting go, you can't feel bad, because it's like, hey, like, it's not me just letting go because this energy is bad. It's just I've dealt with enough of my lessons here. Spiritually, it's time to move on in my life, and it's time to, truly accelerate into the future, to what actually is got meaning. And so what is meaning nowadays? The meaning of life is changing dramatically. And I think a lot of it is that we've been starved for connection. We've been starved for, how do we just make it through reality without it feeling so difficult? The irony is we can put the blame on the world, the politicians, we can put it everywhere. But the reality actually is saying that we are the ones choosing the people we surround ourselves by. We're the ones choosing what we're watching. We're the ones choosing what we're putting our interest in. And we need to change that with this Uranus and Gemini. We need to define what we want it to look like in our lives. And we need to go build that alliance with people that see it in a similar way. We might not see everything exactly the same way, but at least we have to have a common interest. We have to have common identification on things. We have to have common things, and that's okay. That's great. And also be willing to try things in a way that's not, well, this is the vision I've always had that would make me happy. No, get rid of that. That's South Node Jupiter in Leo, right? That's like holding a religion in yourself of like, well, I'll only be happy once I have this. Like, get rid of that. It's probably what that subconscious energy is holding you back the most in this last lunar eclipse in Pisces, where it's going to be dead zone. And then ironically, the next time the lunar eclipse in Pisces with the North Node lunar eclipse is in 18 years when Pluto's coming into Pisces. That it's like, get rid of all of these illusions of what you think will make you happy. They haven't, or else it would have already happened. It's going to be about everybody right now taking the full accountability, being like, I'm letting this go. I'm letting this go. I've let it go already, and I've fully let go of the energy, and then just watch the energy just start to come into your life. And with Uranus, it's going to be a roll of the dice. You're going to have to be willing to have to roll the dice. People are so afraid of love. So many people are afraid of changing the reality. So many people are afraid of everything now. And so this brings part of the 2020 alignment of Saturn Pluto up. Like, this is us realizing we're out of all this crazy energy we've been through, especially the last 23 years. And then the layers that go on top of all that. The big transits that have gone on top of that. All of it. This is the moment where it's like a time wave zero moment, where it's pushing us into the future. And that we've got to be willing to come with a simple, lighter, excited self with no toxic connections. You can't have those cords on and still be like, yeah, I'm going to fucking have a great time in this new reality. It ain't going to happen. So you're the one holding yourself back. The universe is trying to find who's all here to connect. And that's what makes this hard. With Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in trining that Pluto in Gemini, Venus in Libra, that of course is getting ready to come into Scorpio and be retrograde. This is the universe being like, I cannot handle these crazy people who connect to people and they're not working, and they make every excuse in the world. And they don't work, and it causes them hell, and it holds them back. And I think that there's some people who have to break away from a lot of, could be different situations. Could be like, you have too much loyalty to friends. Maybe you have too much loyalty to certain family members. Maybe you have too much loyalty to keeping things the way that the status quo has been. That's got to end. On a larger scale, what we're witnessing is the peak moment of societal craziness, of people have created these status quo, but yet the most psychotic ways of being and making the excuse for it to be the way that it is in their lives. Just making the excuse of just working a job you hate, making the excuse of being in a relationship you hate, making the excuse of not doing something that's new and innovative because everybody's saying to be afraid of it. Every part of the society is always a contradiction. So it's a world of walking contradictions that has to end. And we have to purify ourselves through moving in the future. That's the weird part about this chart, is that this Uranus is saying the only way to move through is let go of your bullshit and what's not good for you, and show up willing to show up in this reality, and let's find a new groove. Who do you want to have a new groove with? Let's figure that out. But if you can't let go and you're like, but there's still too many weird scenarios and shit, then you're just going to be staying in the trapped shit. A lot of people are afraid, and it's the weirdest study, right? Most people that go to prison, 12th house, Pisces rules prisons just as much as mental institutions, just as much as hospitals. Of course, churches, places of worship, Nepal. The Vatican. There's some weird shit going on in life, but you're going to have to release these things that a prisoner wants to always go back to prison when they get back in reality. And this is the chart of that. So it's like there's souls that are ready. They're ready to throw the dice and fucking take the gamble, because the Uranus is a gamble, but it's got the trine to Pluto. So it's like, I'm going to try something different in my life that I've never done before. It's encouraged to do that. But then what happens? Here's this lunar eclipse. Oh, I don't know if oh my God, I just got freed, but I want to go back to the reality I know, which is being trapped. And I'm talking to a lot of people out there that are in those horrible scenarios, and they're too afraid to leave. And they're thinking, I could just make it work. No, you can't. It's not going to. And it's going to be a disaster zone. The Venus retrograde in Scorpio that's coming is the most disastrous one, or the most passionate, exciting, love, powerful bomb I've ever seen. It's one or the other. You're making the choice on this eclipse. Uranus is going to retrograde September 10th. Uranus doesn't have much more time left. We're at the end of August. Happy birthday, Mom. It's my mom's birthday tomorrow on August 20th. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you. But it's like, you got Jupiter trine Saturn. And we're going to see this Jupiter trine Saturn this year. So there's no better moment in human history for you to get out of your bullshit and make the most amazing life of all time. But you have to believe that now, and you have to own that, and you have to fucking roll the dice and do it. It's not going to look normal. It's going to look weird. And almost the crazy part is what you're trying to make look normal is actually the psychosis that's living within you. Let's pull a card, and that's what I got to say. I'm going to keep it there. And yeah, I'll release about the stuff. But yeah, if you want the Hypergate 2.0, right now the website is app.hypergate.ai. And then, of course, the iOS is hypergate.ai. And then the Mac will be on the website, app.hypergate.ai. And you can purchase through that. And then I'm going to have different AI options for that. If you are a member already, you would just be able to use it. So, you can also use the program without it, and there's tons of new features that's why it's called the alpha. And then the beta version and the VR version that comes with it is like more for the beta and to the first major release. But it's going to change astrology in the future. I'm going for the future of astrology. I'm just done with the way it's been done. We got to bring some life to it. There's a lot of great astrologers that we're all talking in the background, bringing shit together. I think we've seen that with the whole UAC thing. I know UAC is happening, I think, during this weekend or whatever. And it's like, I wish them all the best, but they're never going to change unless they call bullshit out right away and then stop being hypocrites and to being afraid of the YouTube spiritual online astrology world. Like, I can't even believe. It's like nobody that watches astrology knows about the orgs unless you're old. And it's just like, so, and then go defend a guy doing racist shit. Like, I just can't. That's why I don't feel bad not being there. I don't even feel bad at all. I feel relieved. But I do wish them the best to figure it out. Maybe this energy will finally let them let go. I hope enough people show up, and I hope enough people there. I don't think that they need to demand change. I just think they just need to just show it could be a lot better. And I think that's the other part of this, is like, you don't need to demand anything. You can just walk out with grace and with compassion and humility and find your peace by doing that. And finding your peace doesn't mean just sitting in your life alone. We only learn through our relationships. We only grow in relationships. So I think that's the part too, where it's like, that's the hard part of Venus and Libra and Saturn and Aries with Neptune, is like, people are getting conflated. Like, I need people to survive through, and then I need to just be alone. And it's like, you gotta have people in your life, and there's moments for what you need for yourself too, and we can work in harmony on both. I can't believe people are living on one side or the other. So, and people are afraid to do exciting, radical, new stuff. Who cares? Is there some great book in the sky that says you need to be with somebody for this long before you do this in a job? Is it some great book in the sky that says, on the 5th date, that's when then you ask the person out? Like, it's just all fucking insanity that people are living in, and we gotta end that shit. It's time to throw the dice, roll the fucking dice. It's almost the end of summer. Go live it out. All right, what do we got? Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I think getting this card, I think people put too much emphasis on an ace. An ace is just, they're the lowest cards. And I think that we might feel like, I really want to make this, but I haven't seen the door yet. You're creating the door. Stop waiting for the door to show up. Ace of Pentacles, you're waiting for the hand to show and be like, here's the door. No, you make the door now. You roll the dice yourself. There's not somebody that's going to force you to roll the dice. You got to roll the dice yourself. King of Swords upright. There it is. I think we're very clear as day what we want to do. We're ready. We're sharp in our mind of what we want to see the change. Then do it. I don't know why people wouldn't be doing it. What's the spiritual advice to all this? Hierophant card. Not my favorite card. But I do like this card because it's like, if you want to make something happen, you show up to it. You show up to it all the time. You commit to it. You study it. You value the tradition in it, or you're creating something that will have tradition. And I do think, I'm going to pull one more card because I'm like, what is it that we are trying to build here? Oh, my favorite card, Five of Pentacles reversed. Your victim story is you continuing to be a victim. It's not sexy to be victims, okay? And to play victim. With Chiron and Taurus, sorry, it's not sexy. I know it might have felt sexy, Chiron and Aries, to play victim all day, but it's not. There is nothing holding you back but your own self, your own self-worth. And playing a victim is not going to get you anywhere. It's almost like there's people making being a victim as their religion, which all religions are, saying you're a victim. And under the name of Muhammad, under the name of fucking Jesus, through only me, you won't be a victim. That shit's got to end. So I appreciate you all. Check out my Ascendant 10 if you want to be part. I got 5 more seats left, and that's starting hardcore next week. And I got Planetary Pivots, and of course High Vibe TV and Hypergate AI on the App Store, and then of course app.hypergate.ai. I should be releasing very soon here. The domain will be hypergate.ai, but right now that's the legacy Hypergate. Not associated with me. All right. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all wherever I see you. Adios. Take care. Bye-bye.